Okay, so today's video is about the dreaded hosel, or shank, or Sir Shanks a lot, or whatever you want to call it, right? So basically, a lot of people ask me, why do I shank only with short irons? They don't shank with anything else, particularly wedges. I'm going to go through that today and explain the number one reason why you shank. And it's probably the number 100 reason that you find on the internet. So we'll go through that. For those that don't know what's a shank, it's basically when the golf ball, instead of hitting the middle here, it's going to hit over here in the hosel, and it's just going to go ding over there to the right for the right-handed golfer. Okay, so I hear a lot of these theories about, too much swinging in to out or out to in and all these sorts of things. But I'm just going to demonstrate and show you why I know it happens. Okay, so I'm just going to jump in here. Now, quite often people will say that, I'll just shut the door. So some people will say, and I've seen them say, don't roll your hands too much, don't roll your hands, don't come too much inside, too much outside, all these sorts of theories, okay, as to what's going to cause a shank. But at the end of the day, a shank occurs when your club gets further away from you, okay? The club gets further away. Now, why does it get further away? And I will admit, if you stand too close to the ball, it's pretty easy to present the club with the hosel and shank it, okay? But the most common way to hit the shank is the following, right? So it's mostly about what our pelvis is doing. I'm going to get a bit of tape here and make my own Adidas one stripe. Okay, here we go. Bit of Adidas one stripe. Don't need three, just need one. And this will represent basically the center of my pelvis. Okay. Now, if you watch most, not all, most good players, when they set up, that center of the pelvis, I'll try to get this to sort of hang, but the center of the pelvis will sit over the ankles, okay? So it's going to sit over the ankles. Now, the reason for that is that when we turn back and then turn through, the pelvis will stay over the feet. All right? So, with most players, when we set up with a driver, we're fairly tall in our setup, and it's pretty easy to get the center of the pelvis over the ankle. And even with a mid iron, as we go down a little bit, we get down to that ball, and again, it's not too difficult to have this in the right spot. Okay, but the main reason why we hit the shank with the wedge is because of setup, right? And so what most people do when they set up is if we can just get the mirror up a little bit. That's it, beautiful, thank you. So what happens, minor technical issues, what happens when we get the wedge is we set up and we start to get our butt back like this, okay? To get down to the ball, we get our butt back and we get our chest down this way. And now, if this was hanging, but it's starting to stick, the Adidas one stripe, you can see how this butt hanging out, now the center of my pelvis is well behind my feet. And this is the number one cause of shank. Now, why? I see all these videos, it's an early extension move, right? But if my pelvis is way back here, I swing back, and when I'm coming in to make the forceful motion, the pelvis wants to get over your feet again. So it will come forward as I come in. Because it needs to be supported. You cannot have your bum hanging back here, right? And make a swing with your bum hanging back here. It just does not work. As we're turning, the pelvis will get over the feet where it wants to be, here. And then all of a sudden, we've got this. And so that leads to the handle getting higher and the club getting further away from me. Okay, so with those, and that's why people shank with their short irons only sometimes, right? If you're a guy that sets up with your 7-iron or 4-iron, right? Here's a 4-iron. And again, I'll get my Adidas 1 stripe. And if I'm a person that sets up like this, with their bum hanging back like this, like that. If I'm this guy trying to get this, this nice posture, if I'm this guy, I'm going to shank everything. That's what's going to happen, right? But most people get into that really, really deep, that center of their pelvis moves back as they're getting a shorter club here, right? And they create this. And the feet can't support the pelvis while it's back here. So the pelvis has to come forward. And that then brings the club that way and we shank it. All right. So that's a little bit of insight into that early extension move that we all hate this, right? And it's about where the pelvis is supported over the feet. I'm going to get into that into another video actually. But for now, for those people that shank those short irons, have a good look at where your Adidas 1 stripe is pointing. Get it right there. Have a look in the mirror. I've got a mirror here behind. And don't get your bum hanging back here. I don't care if your back's nice and straight. I'd rather see center pelvis here, back rounded. Because then I can turn from this position and I'm not going to get that action. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching today's video. Make sure you click on like and subscribe. Let us know if there's anything else you'd like to see, and we'll see you in the next video.